And I have to tell you, and I don't know if I can speak for you, Nick, on this, or Papa Bear or Sam, but for me, I had a really fun time on the journey in preparation for this conversation, watching the docuseries Selling Superman. We have a friend who is a comic book dealer, has a business, and getting his feedback on what that collection meant to his business and some of the it definitely meant something. You were impacting through this film, and Darren, who we'll talk about, who's the I would say the protagonist of the documentary,
Yeah, yeah.
was doing through this collection and how it was driving prices up and down for people who were thousands of miles away in this comic book industry. But the documentary is beautiful. I think everybody should go watch it. Selling Superman is tremendous. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a 4-part series. Guys, it's $12.
Right.
$12. That's it. That's your commitment. You have it, you own it, you watch it. And I came to realize, because I do know a few people who love comic books and collect them, that these stories always tend to be father and son stories for some reason. Either the reason you're collecting or the reason you love comic books in the first place, or you look to superheroes as heroes instead of real men, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
is a father and son thing. That's been my personal experience. Can you speak to your feelings on that at all? Like, what did you notice coming out of this experience with Darren and the rest of the folks who actually love comics that were in the documentary, including yourself,
Yeah,
if you want to add that in there?
sure, sure. I think that's a great observation because I'm not embedded in the comic book world. I came in as an outsider, right? Darren I knew from high school, so he tipped me off to this story about 3 years ago, and it's not something I knew about. I didn't know his dad have Asperger's, didn't know they were collecting, didn't know it was hidden in the house. So it's by fate that I was meant to make this film, that his buddy that he could trust makes documentaries. So I didn't know much about the collectors and comic book people, those that love comic books. I always um, thought it was kind of an escape, the comic book world, from life. Like, oh, let's go somewhere where it's good and evil. And I never thought so much of maybe father son. But then the more I got to know the comic book world, the less I see it as an escape and more as just community and like just like sports. We all love talking about
Mm-hmm.
stuff together. And I think, yeah, when you look at it at like community and bonding, then you go, oh well, if I didn't have the bond with certain people, be it family, be it fathers, you're gonna try and make a family somehow. And with Darren, he really had a disjointed father son relationship. His father couldn't express emotion well, couldn't notice his emotion, just provided well, but didn't really give much love, right? So for Darren to try and rewrite that story and make comic books a good thing instead of this hidden thing, he couldn't even read the comic books with his dad. It's kind of really, really strange.
Right.
Darren, I
Yeah.
think, is really trying to
It's
rewrite
crazy.
a father-son relationship. And when you look at Superman, you're like, oh wow, there's so much father-son there, right? Like
Yep.
Superman's father on Earth really gives some good advice. I mean, I was able to splice that into the for second episode where he's like, life is much. I think you're here for something more than touchdowns. Like to use your power for something more than just success. And I really, early on in the process of that film, I thought that was important because we do need a father that can guide us in the right way. And if we don't have that, we can be maybe, or if it's not a father, we need some role models that say like, what's actually important to us? Is it touchdowns? Is it money? Is it happiness? And yeah, it becomes, I think, more and more clear how much we're created in some ways by our parents, until we uncreate that. That's my take on all of humanity, I think, in short.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see it a little bit less. Yeah, but I see it a little bit less about the father son thing. I think that's definitely a through line, in the series, of course, because this is
That's interesting.
about his father's legacy.
Mm.
But with the
Yes.
comics, I often saw it like if you think about it like this is a crazy way to think about comics. I'm just gonna throw this out at you because I just
Yeah, let's
I
hear it.
thought about this at one point in my life. It's kind of like the Bible. It's like what? Wait,
Hmm.
what? What did I just say?
What?
Where are these kids learning the difference between good
Yeah.
and evil?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's through these heroes, because you can look at pretty much every superhero until you start getting into the so I would say different types of superheroes that you have today, where they're a little bit good, a little bit bad.
They're the anti-hero. But the first
Exactly, the
anti-hero I fell in
super
love with was Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe.
right, but
And
exactly, but
but
with the
notice I didn't get that from the
heroes.
Bible. I got it from
Right, what I'm saying,
basically.
yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. But that's the idea, was that these are the people we're supposed to look up to. We're
Yeah.
looking up to the ones that, I mean, dude, Batman, just kill the Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's thinking that, like, just kill him, just get rid of him, get rid of the Penguin. But we're not going to do that, because now you are becoming,
Yeah.
you're embodying the evil that we don't want. So that was it for me. It was like, that's the thing, is that they need someone, just like Adam is saying, they need someone to tell them what is the difference between good and evil, and then continue to reinforce that over and over and over again through every story, through every villain, because every villain in our personal lives, they don't look the same, right? I'm sure each of us has a Joker, each of us has a Penguin, each of us has a, right? And you can just kind of fill in the blank. So how do you deal with that new villain? And I think that's, to me, that's what this gives you. And back to what Adam said, now you have an entire community of people just learning these stories and potentially leaning in to the understanding of good and evil, and having a community around the storytelling, maybe the morals and the values, and then of course the artwork as well that goes with it. So that's kind of how I see that comic sense, and what people are learning and really deriving from the comic world.
That's amazing. I mean,
It's
I love that, because I also saw
yeah.
like hero or superheroes kind of as replacements for religion, where because America kind of pushed religion aside a bit, right? In lieu of other things, capitalism or
I was just going to
heroes,
say that. Yes.
right. And we search for saviors in some way, and that's where it steps in. And thankfully, some of the older heroes like Superman and Batman are really good humans, right? They're good people, so that's cool.
Yep. And
Yeah,
Batman
well,
himself is a father-son story in a lot of ways too. Just the
Yeah,
backstory of Batman and why Bruce
true.
Wayne became Batman. And I think the
mm-hmm.
way those two ideas, Nick, connect is that in some cases, I think a breakdown in that that family construct, the thing that Darren, the protagonist of Selling Superman, was dealing with, along with his little brother, that leads you to comics. And then once you're
Right.
there, that becomes religion because you learn good and evil. To to your point. Now, in some
Mm-hmm.
cases, it's perfectly fine, and dad is introducing son to comics, right? But I for the comic people I know that are like really deep into it, they don't have great relationships with their father.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.